up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mixed Doubles. We're your hosts, Maggie Robinson
and Josh Maggie.
We're former D1 athletes and co-workers at a major professional sports league with a passion for all things women's sports.
Again, all opinions stated here are our own and have no affiliation with our employer.
Disclaimer out of the way. All right, I got a new one for you this time. What are your ins from this past month? What are things that have just been, like, really great?
Oh, you're going to make me think on my feet?
Yeah, I can give you mine if you want time to think.
You start with yours.
Okay. I've obviously given this a thought.
Ins for the month.
Ins for the month? Guys, eating the garnishes out of drinks. When did that become a faux pas? Can we bring it back from being a faux pas? F-A-U-X?
Faux pas?
It's French.
Eating the garments out of drink garments?
the garnish,
the pants?
The
Eating the garments.
Eating the pants on the little toothpick?
No.
Like the olive on the toothpick?
Yeah,
or like
or
when
like
they
an
like
orange,
shave an
or
orange or like a apple slices in there?
Huh.
I'm trying to eat that.
I mean, as
and
you should.
Do.
As you should.
But why is that frowned upon? That's so
Is it frowned upon? I mean, if you get
it's like tacky.
If you get a dirty martini and there's olives in there, should you not eat the olives?
I guess it's more like if you're...
It's a serious question. I don't drink dirty martinis, so I don't know.
I don't often drink a dirty martini, but I feel like the olives less tacky. I feel like if you have like shaved apple and you're like fishing it out of there, which I have done.
With your fingers or with what? Because I can see where the faux pas comes into play.
I did just scoop it out with my hand.
Oh, yeah. It's a little faux pas-ish.
It's a little faux pas-ish. But it tastes so good.
I mean,
That's
you should. You're paying for it anyways. You might as well.
Yeah.
You might as well. All right. My ins, off the top of my head, smoothies. They're always in. I'll be honest with you. Like, yeah, I love a smoothie. But I feel like, especially this month, I mean, I went to Trader Joe's. I got my frozen fruits.
Yeah.
I got my protein. I got my almond milk.
I think you know what question I'm going to ask you.
What's up?
Did you put frozen bell pepper in your smoothie? He puts frozen bell pepper in his smoothies.
No,
that's so strange.
Not frozen bell peppers.
Just regular
bell peppers.
Okay, but that still doesn't change the fact that it's a bell pepper in your smoothie.
I don't think that's that weird. I mean, like, everybody puts veggies in their smoothies, right?
Spinach
like kale, spinach.
What color bell pepper are you chopping up?
I mean, any, like, green, red, yellow. They all have a little different flavor. Honestly, like, and this is my pitch, right? This is my pitch for bell peppers and smoothies.
Yeah, hit me.
It'll give your smoothie a little bit different of a taste, especially if there's a lot of fruits in there already. It's still good.
Are you mixing banana and bell pepper?
Be honest. Sure, yeah. Why not?
I can think of a lot of reasons why not.
No, see, because I would say don't knock it till you try it at least 3 times.
All right, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
But smoothies are in.
Smoothies are in.
That's fair.
You know what else is in? Big players.
And big players. All right.
You got it.
So, my big play by a company, Lululemon, because they designed the Team Canada Olympic and Paralympic clothing. It's all designed for able-bodied and disabled athletes, so both can wear the same gear, but it's tailored based on the disability. And so they have things like sensory touch guides, they have magnetic closed zippers and like pull-on loops. They thought through every design aspect so that the disabled athletes get the same dope gear that the able-bodied athletes get.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Which is so great.
And I've seen the pictures of them, they just like look dope.
They're so nice.
They look so cool.
Great design by them.
I'll jump into mine.
Yeah.
Mine I love.
Oh, this is near and dear.
My big players of the week.
Woo!
My alma mater, Columbia University's very own Abby Shue and Caitlin Davis.
Let's go.
First Columbia women's basketball players to be drafted to the WNBA this past week.
Oh my God.
Back to back too. Like, so cool and just so special for both of them, and both two amazing women that I've gotten to watch play at Columbia and that I've been really big fans of and have gotten the great opportunity to be friends of. And Abby got selected by the Connecticut Sun at 34. Mm-hmm. Caitlin Davis at 35 got selected by our very own New York Liberty.
That's so great.
And it's such an amazing story, and it's just amazing to see all their hard work and their skills pay off and getting that opportunity to be drafted and get an opportunity to compete for a spot on those teams. They are both really good ball clubs in the WNBA, so it'll be really cool to see how they continue to progress in their careers, and I'm just so happy for both of them, and I know the whole Columbia community is behind them, so got a ton of texts from different people who were just like, how lucky were we to have gotten to be at Columbia while these guys were there.
That's crazy.
Like,
2 Columbia athletes?
Drafted.
Wow.
So congrats to them. Those are my big players for the week.
That's
Huge
awesome.
shout out. It was amazing. Let's jump into a little bit of updates around the industry. What you got for me?
All right, so we can start off with some college gymnastics. The national championship just happened, and guess who won? LSU won the national title, and they had some incredible individual performances. Haley Bryant won all around. That means she did incredibly well on vault, bar, beam, and floor. She crushed every single specialty, which if you've watched, they're all so different. They're incredibly different. And so to be that good, to win all around national champion, is just an incredible athletic feat. Like, so much respect for these gymnasts. I watched some of their performances, and I don't know how they move the way they do. I literally have so much respect for them. It was crazy.
No. I would fall face first.
Do you know the beam that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
How wide do you think it is? It's 4 inches wide.
I mean, I don't even know how big.
That's tiny!
Oh my gosh.
That's so narrow, and they're doing a flip on it and then landing. I'm so impressed. So, definitely recommend going to watch a few of those videos. So
good for them.
I know. LSU's got something going on.
Serious.
Speaking of professional women's hockey, like we were last week, they just had the largest crowd ever for a PWHL game with 21,000 fans. Damn. We love to see it. Dang. It feels like women's sports in general is popping off right now.
No, seriously.
Like, this is the moment right now.
I don't think I've ever had 21,000 fans at my games.
Definitely not. Does Columbia's football stadium even hold that many?
If my mom multiplied herself by 21,000, maybe.
Then
but
maybe.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
Nah, that's awesome for them. Yeah. Seriously.
And on recording this, the London Marathon just happened this past weekend, and Perez Jepchirchir won the women's race of the London Marathon and set a women's only world record in 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 16 seconds.
Which is just as fast as it takes me to get out of bed in the morning.
How fast is that per mile?
That's, I mean, I don't know the math on that.
I can't do that math in my head.
But I
still count on my hands. Okay, you guys, we did the quick math. That means she was running a 5-minute and 11-second mile for 26 miles?
Yeah. To put that into comparison, I've never ran a 5-minute marathon in my life.
What's the fastest you've ever run a mile?
Probably like when we would do it in middle school when everybody was really competitive and it was probably like a 6:30 or a 7.
Yeah.
I'm not a runner.
Yeah, we know this.
Okay. All right.
And that ends the conversation.
I'm not Perez Jepchirchir. That's for sure.
No.
She's amazing in her own right.
Incredible for her.
Jumping into the WNBA, some news there. Some really cool stuff this week. Obviously, the WNBA draft was this past Monday and got 2.45 million viewers.
Big numbers.
You stack that up. It was, I think, the 4th most watched draft this past year.
Yo.
So, I mean, doing really great.
That's big.
And you're getting almost 2.5 million viewers to watch what a lot of people are saying will be one of the best WNBA draft classes.
It's going to go out in history.
I mean, really cool there. Along those same lines, looking at Caitlin Clark, she's looking to get a deal with Nike, an exclusive shoe deal that's going to include a signature shoe. Yeah. And the deal's expected to be around the 8-figure mark. Woo. And I think a lot of people are speculating it's going to be around $20 million for the whole deal.
So she's fine.
So she's doing well. Fine. She's going to be doing well. And it's going to be a big deal for the WNBA. I mean, you have a player who's making a $20 million contract, supposedly, on a shoe deal. Like, that's groundbreaking. So really cool there. And then also, to kind of go on a small tangent, but a lot of people were saying when Caitlin Clark was leaving Iowa, is this good or bad for the value that she has as an individual? With NIL and how much you can make there versus how much you can make in the pros. And you're already seeing, I mean, if this $20 million number is true, like
she hasn't even stepped foot in the pro league yet.
Exactly.
And she's signing deals like this. Yeah. She'll be fine. So her value's only going to skyrocket.
Exactly. So she's doing very well for herself. Chicago Sky saw a large increase in their ticket sales after drafting Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso.
What a duo.
I mean,
I don't want to play against that team.
Are you kidding me?
That's scary shit.
Camila, they interviewed Camila after they drafted Angel, and they were like, what do you think about playing with her? And she was like, well, nobody's getting rebounds on us, I'll tell you that much.
No. Are you kidding? Those two?
Are you joking? Like,
wow.
Yeah. Come on now. Those are two tall bodies in the paint.
Yeah.
They're going to be a good team to watch. The Washington Mystics have moved their game against the Indiana Fever to the Capital One Arena in D.C. Again, expecting a large attendance for those Caitlin Clark games against the Indiana Fever, and joining the Vegas Aces as another team that's expanding into a bigger arena for their game versus the Indiana Fever. So already seeing
the demand is there.
The demand for CC
is there.
Some more stuff quickly. Something that the Phoenix Mercury did that I thought was really cool was they're introducing an alternate court that, I don't know if you followed like the NBA at all, but the Phoenix Suns and some other teams have built in alternate courts to match the alternate jerseys that they have.
Oh, sick.
And so this is going to be the first WNBA team to have an alternate court to match one of their alternate jerseys.
So is it a different location?
No, so it's in the same stadium.
Okay.
It's in the arena that they play in, but they just bring in this alternate court that matches the jersey. And it's really cool. It's always a really fun thing to see.
Yeah.
It was seen a lot this year, especially with the NBA's in-season tournament, and they had all those alternate courts.
I saw those. Yeah.
But this will be one that kind of pairs to their jersey.
Oh my gosh.
The Suns did something similar with their jerseys, so this will be really cool for them.
Yeah. You want to hit us into some golf?
Yeah, I'll continue. As of recording this, Nelly Korda is seeking her 5th straight victory.
This is a name to know, you guys. Like, keep this name in mind. She's a star.
Girl's a stud.
She's really
Girl's
good.
A stud. They're trying to call her like the Caitlin Clark of golf.
Okay, but can we realize that they're calling her the Caitlin Clark of golf and not the Tiger Woods?
Of golf? Crazy.
No, like, this is a good, because usually when we compare really good athletes, like females, it's female to male. It's, oh, they're the LeBron of this. They're the Steph Curry of this. They're the Tiger Woods of this.
She could be the Caitlin
Clark of this.
Which is crazy.
That's so iconic.
Yeah.
That shows a shift. Anyway, continue.
No, but she's having a lot of success. She's playing in the LPGA's Chevron Championship this weekend. And if she wins, which currently, as we're recording, she's in 2nd. So 1 stroke behind the leader, but would be the 3rd player ever in tour history to win 5 consecutive starts. So this is not only 5 consecutive wins, like the season started, she has not lost yet.
Oh my God.
She has not lost yet.
Oh my God.
She's killing it right now. Going into her last leg today, I think she has like 25 holes that she has to play. So we'll have a really good opportunity to kind of come out ahead. And if she does, we'll make history. And listening to a lot of what the LPGA has put out this weekend is somebody that they hope they can lean on to market the game.
Absolutely.
Especially to younger female audiences and people that are just enjoying her success right now.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest part of what makes these players so marketable, like Caitlin Clark, is their sustained consistency and excellence. If she hasn't lost since the season started, like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, she's walking the walk. Like, she's doing the thing.
Seriously.
You can put some promotion behind that because she's showing up every day.
Yeah. So
love to see that. And then a little bit of a different twist this time. So Time Magazine revealed their most influential people of 2024, which in my opinion feels a little bit early for 2024, but that's beside the point. 2 female athletes were on this list of note. One, Asia Wilson.
Dog.
She's the Las Vegas Aces WNBA star. She's been in the league for a while now at this point.
2-time MVP, 2-time WNBA Finals MVP, has a statue at South Carolina.
I mean, the stats speak for themselves. On the list, obviously. And the second is a name you might recognize, maybe not for the best reasons, but we're going to explain why. It's Jenny Hermoso, and she was the captain of the Spanish women's national team, who, when they won the World Cup this past summer, was forcibly, I want to say assaulted, kissed by her club manager. And she came out and was very vocal against this and very adamant that he stepped down, and it's been a whole ongoing debate. But the fact that she used her platform and was adamant from her stance that this is unacceptable and we as female athletes have put up with way too much of this bullshit from male coaches in positions of power is obviously really impressive, and hence why she's on the list. So 2 names to know for very different reasons, but keep those in mind, and we hope to see them crush it in their respective seasons.
Yeah.
This main story, y'all, woo! We have grievances.
We have grievances.
We have grievances.
We got some stuff to get off our chest.
We do.
So, Diana Taurasi is a current WNBA star. She is a point guard for the Seattle Storm and has been in the WNBA for a long time. She was also
41 years old.
Yeah.
She's been there.
She was a star at UConn. She's one of the greats in the game. She got interviewed recently and was asked about Caitlin Clark, obviously a superstar that's coming into their league, and had, I would say, a controversial opinion.
A chippy opinion.
Yeah. About Caitlin Clark. Essentially just saying, like, hey, yeah, she's having success right now in college, But don't forget that the WNBA is a collection of the best professionals in the game. And so it's not going to be easy for her once she steps into the league.
Yeah.
There was also a part of it that was cut off, kind of the main clip of the interview that everybody's talking about. Because afterwards she does kind of give Caitlin Clark her flowers in a way. And it's just like, yeah, she's an exceptional player.
Yeah.
She's done a lot for the sport. She's coming into a league. But the idea being like, hey, it's the best of the best in this league right now.
It's no longer 18-year-olds. Like, they're professionals
not
for a
going
reason.
to school. They're getting paid to do this.
Live and breathe basketball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just been interesting, I think, the backlash that Diana Taurasi's got. I have some pretty strong opinions about it.
She also mentioned in this video that she was like, the media is so infatuated and obsessed with the young female athlete. So, like, all this attention is going on to Caitlin Clark. You might not even have known who Diana Taurasi is. She's actually probably better at basketball right now and, like, more acclaimed than Caitlin Clark, given how long her career has been. But there's none of this media hype around her. Is it because she's 41? And I think in the eyes of the media, when women hit the age of 30 and above, we're talking about any woman, not athlete, they're kind of written off. Like, you hit 30, you're like, all right, cool. We have new, fresh faces to focus on. You're kind of irrelevant. And then when you couple that with, like, athletes are written off once they hit 30, you think of any, like, NFL player. They hit 30 and you're like, all right, their career's...
He's old.
He's old. Like, his career's probably on the downhill. You couple those together, and then any WNBA player turns 30, immediately on to the next. Who's the next fresh face? Who's the, like, the fresh meat that we can focus on? And all these great players are just forgotten. And so I think that's where her emotion is coming through of, like, why am I being written off, me and my peers, when we've been doing this for years on end? Like, longer than she's been playing basketball at this level. Why are you discrediting us like this so fast?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of aspects to the story. Like, I think exactly what you said, kind of that ageist outlook at it, and then tying that with the fact that it is a women's league, and historically it hasn't received the viewership and the recognition that it probably deserved back then. I mean, like, we're talking about somebody who was really freaking good at basketball. And, you know, I don't think any of this is a discredit to Caitlin Clark. Obviously, like, she's a transcendental player. She's coming into this league. She's breathing fresh air into it.
100%.
And she's bringing so many people into...
She's opening the door and, like, elevating the entire league.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think there's also something to be said, too, about, and this is where I've been kind of angry with the whole situation, is that you do have so many new fans because of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Give Caitlin Clark her credit there, 100%.
Absolutely.
She's done nothing wrong. She's taken advantage of the situation. And she, like we said earlier, like, she's played to this level so consistently that you can't do anything but watch.
Right.
Right? But now what you have is you have all these fans that, you know, might need to educate themselves a little bit.
They don't know what the hell they're watching.
Let's be real. Like, Diana Taurasi, she was that girl. She was that girl. And I think everybody's kind of coming at her like she's bitter, she's old. And I'm sure, like, you've heard that before, right? Like, oh, here she comes. Like, you know, like, especially you talk about women in the workplace and writing that line of how do I come off not as, like, aggressive or bitter. And it's so difficult. And obviously, like, you can talk to this.
How do I come across as, like, not bitchy, but still assertive and dominant and get what I need because I know it's what I deserve based on the, like, work that I've put out? Yeah. That's a fine line to toe.
And I think, like, female athletes have had a similar situation. And I think you saw it with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in the competitiveness of what they were doing. And it's like, you compare that to what the men have been doing, and it's like, there's no difference, right?
No.
And yet you're getting angry at Angel Reese, and you're calling her disrespectful, you're calling her all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, she's being competitive, she's being assertive, she's talking shit. Like, we all talk shit.
I think everyone needs to understand that it's not just, like, a masculine trait to be competitive or to be so passionate that, like, your emotions maybe not get the best of you, but that your emotions really show through on the court or on the field. Women feel the same thing. Yeah. We get just as angry, just as into it, like, just as passionate. If you can't tell by my voice, I'm obviously very passionate about this. And it just makes me mad that it's looked down upon as, like, a negative trait, or, like, why are women doing this, or they're going at each other. No, it's just pure competition. Yeah. They've come out, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and said, there's no beef. You guys are creating something out of nothing. This is pure competition, and I can respect her for being the great player she is off the court and on the court, but, like, it just shows up like this.
Yeah. When we're on the court, like... We're not
business.
friends. I'm here to win. I'm just as competitive as any man playing in any other league. Like, I am here to do a job, and that's winning, and that's being the best player that I can be. And yeah, like, as a WNBA, as a steward of the WNBA and Diana Taurasi, everybody was like, oh, you know, she's not being inviting to Caitlin Clark. And it's like, well, let's pump the brakes there, right? Like, yes, she's being inviting to Caitlin Clark in her way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be all like,
hey, sweetie, welcome to the league. I made you some cookies. Like, no.
Like, hey, welcome to the league.
Your ass handed to you. Prepare.
Welcome to the league. Yeah, there's some dogs on these courts.
Yeah.
And as we talked about in our last podcast, there's not a lot of spots.
No.
Obviously, Caitlin Clark is going to fill one of those spots.
Yeah.
But, like, when you go from college to the WNBA or to any pro league, any women's pro league, there's a hill that you have to climb with anything because these are professionals. And when you're in college, it's the 1% of the 1% that makes that leap. In anything. In my perspective, that gets forgotten in the women's game sometimes.
Yeah. You know what I also think is interesting is that people who I know who don't watch the WNBA don't watch because they're like, yeah, but it's not as exciting. It's not as engaging. What's exciting and engaging is when people care this much to get this chippy, to get this emotionally invested in a game. So then don't shoot them down when that starts showing up. You don't get one without the other. You don't get really great play without a lot of emotion, a lot of competition, and sometimes that comes out. Like, choose one. If you want women to be all, like, polite and cute, then don't watch women's sports. Like, sorry.
Not
for
what it
you.
is. Like, it's not what it is.
Not for you.
These are competitive athletes at the very top of their game.
Yeah.
So, don't know how much I need to drill it more. I think we're on the same page. But no, there's a ton of aspects there.
So that's grievance number one. You want to hit second on the list?
Yeah, the CC, the Caitlin Clark pay disparity.
Woo! All right.
That's a handful. There's a lot there.
Let's break it down.
All right.
So, Caitlin Clark's salary was announced, and it's $75,000.
It's like 75, 76.
In the first year. Victor Wembanyama is making $12.1 million in his rookie year. Was the first-round pick in the NBA this past year. $76K versus $12.1 million is a large jump. And so when people saw these numbers side by side on social media specifically, when it's just in this like bite-sized format, people got mad. So mad, in fact, that President Biden put out a statement that he was shocked about the pay disparity. We had celebrities in Hollywood putting out statements about this. Katie Couric talked about it. And I think there's a lot of nuance that's not understood by the average viewer because, as you were saying, a lot of people are just now tuning into the WNBA and aren't aware of all the intricacies of its revenue and how long it's been around versus the NBA.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. And there's multiple parts to it, but if we're just looking purely at revenue, the way that it's broken down, we'll look at like the NBA and the WNBA. The NBA and the WNBA both have collective bargaining agreements. We've discussed this before, but essentially collective bargaining agreements are the agreements between the league and the players that sets the guidelines and the rules about like how revenue is shared, et cetera, et cetera. And so for the NBA, the revenue that's produced by the league is split 50-50 between the league and the players.
Okay.
And so the NBA players have an opportunity, and this is when you see like these salary cap numbers, and it's like such and such team has, let's say, $250 million to play with in a year. That's the money that they can distribute to their players. And when you're talking about signing contracts, that $250 million number is the limit that a team can hit, and that's set by the revenue share of the league's total revenue.
Got it.
So 50%, and for context, the NBA generates $10 billion in revenue per year.
Wow.
A lot of money.
So that means the players and their salaries can be sky high.
Exactly.
In the millions of dollars.
So of that $10 billion, right, you're saying $5 billion of that is set aside to the 30 teams in the NBA.
Yep.
And then distributed to players.
Wow.
And so I don't know what the actual salary cap is per team, but that salary cap is decided by that $5 billion and then a lot of other factors. And so yeah, you think about it like that's $5 billion for 30 teams to play with.
That's a lot of money.
That's why you're seeing a first-year guy make $12 million in a year.
Because they have that, because the league has been around long enough. It's 78 years. I think they're going to their 78th season.
Yeah.
To have grown into what it is to be worth that much.
Yeah. And then it's also, how does the league make revenue, right? The majority of it comes from their media dollars.
And guess what we talked about in another episode? How low the current media valuation was for the past WNBA deal. And how going forward it's going to be way higher. But right now it's so low, which limits the amount that they're allowed to spend on their players' salaries.
Exactly.
Which is why Caitlin Clark is making $76K and you're getting mad about it.
Exactly. And so with that too, the WNBA right now, I think, to compare it to that $10 billion number, generates around $60 million in revenue.
Wow.
And on top of that, their CBA rev share isn't the same as the NBA's
It's not 50-50?
It's not 50-50. It's actually incentive based. And so I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I do know that the way that their CBA works is that depending on certain metrics that they hit in terms of viewership and attendance per year is how much percent of that 60 million they get distributed across their 12 teams to then go to their players.
So by Caitlin Clark bringing more viewership to the WNBA, she could therefore increase the revenue?
Potentially for the next year.
Yeah.
Right?
I saw a stat that the NBA makes 166 times more revenue than the WNBA in its current state.
Damn.
So then if you look at that comparatively, the salaries for Wemby and for Caitlin Clark are representative of what the revenue is for each league. I think when people see these posts on Instagram and they see a number and they quickly are looking at it in like a 2-second scroll, no shit, you're going to be shocked and outraged. And again, these are new fans who don't know any of these details about the business side of it.
Yeah.
And so people are getting heated, and everyone on Facebook, Instagram loves to throw around a comment. They got Twitter fingers. They're going to put that shit out there so quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit problematic because there's so much more, and it's great to see new fans, but you also want educated fans.
Yeah, but you got to do the thing, and you've got to actually educate your fans.
Right.
And
that's another
as these
layer
fans come in, I'm sure that's one of the things that the WNBA's marketing team is definitely looking to do as this next season kicks off. Just make sure that they understand like the history of the sport and the history of the league. Like we said, it's a young league. You see the rev share not be this 50-50, and I think, this is just my idea, the reason behind that is that with any company, when you're in your early stages and you're really trying to grow your product, you want to be able to invest as much of what you're generating back into the product. And like a lot of people would say like, well, isn't that your players? Sure, right? And I think eventually, and the commissioners and some of their executives have stated like, yes, we need to focus on bringing the value of what we bring to our players up. But at the same time, you talk about like operational costs. You talk about chartering flights. Like these are things they haven't done yet. They didn't have chartered flights. They still don't have chartered flights across the board.
They're flying on like Southwest.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if the entire team from the New York Liberty gets on your LaGuardia flight? Hello.
I'm getting a selfie.
Yeah, and I'm getting up and getting signatures. But that's absurd.
It's crazy. And so you think about it where it's like they're trying to reinvest a lot of what you make back into growing the sport from an operational standpoint and hoping that eventually that leads into a larger media deal, more viewership, more attendance, a better product, and then being able to pay your athletes as they should, right? And I think one of the other things too is that they're coming up on a new media rights negotiation in 2025. Yep. And so that'll be an opportunity, depending on how this season goes, tap in, like please watch the WNBA this season. Depending on how this season goes with viewership will be something that they can leverage in these negotiations next season and talk about, we look at these young stars we have. Like, look at how many people are coming from the college game into the WNBA, aren't invested in Caitlin Clark and in Sabrina Ionescu, and look at how we're tapping into the NBA's ecosystem. These are all things that I think they take to the negotiating table, and you come out of that with a much larger media rights deal, and that goes into how much money the players are going to be able to make. And then another aspect of it, too, is that the CBA is up for, I think they're able to opt out of their current CBA as a players union next season.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so that's an interesting aspect too. And I think everybody's thinking right now that the players will certainly opt out next season and be able to go back and negotiate
that.
And the idea would be like, let's get our 50-50 split or 40-60 or whatever it may be that they can come to. But obviously, they're going to want a larger share of that revenue.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to get it.
Totally.
Right?
I think, this year is going to be, like, monumental. I think we're about to see a ton of growth explode from this, and hopefully just see the WNBA be taken so much more legitimately and on such a bigger scale than it has been.
Yeah. Kind of going away from just the revenue, because nothing ever exists in a vacuum, is that you look at it historically, right, and why we're at where we're at. While it's a young league, a lot of the slow growth up until the last couple of years has definitely been because of misogyny, right? And, like, you think about consumer behavior and how as a society you kind of push women to not necessarily be sports fans. Yeah. And how that has shifted recently.
That is such a stereotype that I would love to break down. It's always like, oh, and she knows about football. And that's, like, niche and unique.
Yeah.
No, I'm allowed to be, like, interested in sports for my own self and have it not just be to benefit a male conversation. Is that so foreign?
Yeah.
And, like apparently it is. And that's really frustrating.
Yeah. But I think it's been because of the way that up until now they've been marketing these games and these leagues to their fans. And it's like, well, this is a male thing. Like, males play sports and blah, 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 blah. So, like...
the genetic advantage.
We're going to just, give it to them and not really package this in a way that's appealing to women. And it's like this whole time, like, you've had all these people who are just as interested in learning the game, whatever, like if it's basketball, golf, football, hockey, etc. And just now are people like, oh shit, they like sports. Like,
it blows my mind that it's literally taken until 2024 for somehow the entire world to wake up to this. And it feels like this is kind of happening overnight, which in some ways is really frustrating because all these professional athletes have been putting blood, sweat, and tears into this for years on end, and no one has taken them legitimately. The broadcasters haven't been taking them legitimately. They've always been talked about in somewhat sexualized ways. They've been talked about what they look like, their relation to a man, as a mother, as a wife, as a girlfriend. It's always, what does she look like? It's less about how is she playing, and that's been frustrating because who wants to tune into a game where that's the topic of conversation versus, oh, this is a really great game, it's high energy. It's like a reoccurring cycle. It just feeds itself. And so I feel like we're finally like pushing through that and recognizing it for what it is, which is incredible athleticism.
Yeah. And storytelling is everything.
Yeah.
As we found out this season of women's college hoops, is how you package the story, how you market the story is going to attract more fans. So, yeah, I think now, like you said, they're paying a lot more attention to how they can build these stories and share them with people and realize that people are invested and interested in seeing these amazing women and how they compete.
And going off that, another marketing topic, this time a huge blunder.
Huge blunder.
Arguably the biggest blunder we've seen.
The biggest blunder?
Is this the biggest blunder we've seen recently? So Nike unveiled one of their 50 designs for their women's track and field team. Awesome that they have so many options. 50, large number. Great. We love uniform options. However, they posted this image on their Instagram of the women's track unitard on a model. And let me just tell you, one, I recommend you look up a photo because I'm not going to be able to explain it doing it justice. Her entire crotch is out. There's no way to describe it other than like a really high-cut bikini. And this is for women who are supposed to be running the 400, pole vaulting, hurdling, like moving their bodies. If her crotch is already out on a mannequin when she's staying still on a piece of plastic, there's simply no way that it's staying put on a female moving.
I digress.
Josh is like, I have no thoughts on this. This is not for me.
No, I saw it. I'll give you my initial reaction. I saw it and I was like, there's no way. Like, that's been a point of contention, right? Is the jerseys that they make.
Don't over-sexualize our female athletes. There's one thing to have less fabric and more movement ability. There's another thing for it to be a piece of cloth, like, strung together as bottoms.
Yeah.
I saw people in the comment section being like, they better have, like, Brazilian wax sponsor Team USA.
Seriously. I don't understand from a marketing perspective having that be the thing that's kind of, like, out in the main focus, right? Like, if this is one of your 50 options, that was the option that you were like,
that's
yeah, go
the
ahead
one
and,
that made the cut?
Go ahead and put that one up there.
You mean the marketing department and the social media team saw that photo, saw the mannequin's crotch and were like, yeah, send it.
Let's post that. There was nobody there.
This is like, Nike. This is like one of the best sports marketing teams in the world. And I think they just really missed the mark on this one. But it's interesting because a lot of track and field athletes came out after this and said, wait, guys, they actually consulted us on this. And it looks way different on us. And we gave them feedback based on what we wanted. And it doesn't look like that. So I think this really was a marketing fail. But it just got the entire internet up in storm, rightfully so. Like, what are you doing?
If anybody can twist it, it's them.
I know.
I guess we'll see if anybody decides to wear it in the Olympics this summer. Yeah. And if it looks fine, then are we the fool? But maybe. For now,
not for me.
Not marketing blunder for sure. But with that, I think that wraps up our grievances for the week.
That wraps up our grievances. I got heated in this one today.
Get it off your chest, girl.
And I did. I did. I really did.
And we should.
We have a few updates for you guys. One, as always, follow us on Instagram at Mixed Doubles Pod. That's 1D. The mix and the double, share it. And also, if you listen on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, give us 5 stars if you think it's worth it. It really helps us.
Like, guys, smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Smash that follow button. Share it with a friend. Share it with your mom.
Seriously, Mother's Day's coming up.
Spread the love.
Spread the love, please.
And with that, we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
See ya. Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama.
Victor Wembanyama.
Victor Wembanyama.